Hello everyone. Today we will talk about read papers quickly. Sometimes you need to read a lot of papers to make your research, but the problem is that every paper needs sometimes a lot of time, and suddenly after a certain time or a certain point of time you realize that this paper is not useful for you. So it is better, of course, to know at the beginning if that paper is useful for you or not. And of course, it is better to read the paper very quickly so that you can read a lot of papers and take whatever you need from that paper or from these different papers. So how to do that? There are a lot of hints and a lot of strategies to do that. Let us see at least some of them. At first, you can, of course, look at the highlights, if there are highlights, of course. Sometimes there is no, or there are no highlights for that paper, for example, in that journal, but sometimes you can use these highlights if they are there. Another thing is, of course, the abstract. Every paper has uh, an abstract, so you can read. This is for example, an example of abstract for a certain paper. You can read the abstract and, of course, find the most important parts or information about this paper. Of course, you have for each one of the abstracts, you have to concentrate on three main or major things. The first thing is the objective of the paper. The second one is the methodology of the paper. And finally, the results of the paper. Of course, any abstract can include other items other than these three ones, but these ones are the most important ones and you will always find them in an abstract, or should be at least. And be careful, please, that there is a difference between the objective of the paper and the objective of the concepts in the paper. For example, I have seen a lot of students when I ask them what is the objective of the paper, they start talking about, for example, if the paper is about lean manufacturing, then they start talking about the concept of lean manufacturing and it is for reducing waste and all that. This is not the objective of the paper. This is the objective of lean manufacturing. Maybe the paper is talking about lean manufacturing, yes, but this is not the objective of the paper. So you must know the difference between both of them. For how to find the objective, for example, usually it is at the beginning. Of course, the objective must be before the methodology, but sometimes in the abstract you will find some information about the concept of the paper. Maybe you will see the importance of that concept, then you will find the objective. So it doesn't necessarily to be the first sentence. It might be in the middle, but of course it will be before the methodology, for example. Possible methodologies, there are surveys and analysis, for example. This is very famous, that you have a questionnaire and there is analysis of the questionnaire. This is the easiest methodology maybe. And we have, of course, mathematical modeling, for example, operations research or others. You have, of course, simulation. One of the famous simulation models is discrete event simulation. There are, of course, others. Literature review might be also. Case studies, maybe also conceptual models, and we will talk about each one of them later in other videos. And of course, there are others. And you can sometimes find the methodology from the title of the paper. For example, here is the title, part of it, a case study. That means that the methodology will depend heavily on a case study. And as you can see, the second sentence in the abstract of this paper talks about the methodology of the paper. Of course, you can have different tricks how to find the methodology immediately, even within the context of the whole paper, not only in the abstract. For example, if you look at the words this study or this paper, here is in the introduction, for example, you will see some information about the methodology. And of course, in section number 2, also the same thing, you will find more information about the methodology. Sometimes the methodology is a section, the name methodology is a section inside the paper, sometimes it is not. But sometimes when you see this word, this study or this paper, it is actually not talking about the methodology, it talks about the objective of the paper. So you can see from the sentence or the few sentences if it is about the methodology or about the objective of the paper. But usually please look at these two words, this study or this paper or this work or whatever. And for the results, usually you will find the results also in the abstract, and later on in other parts, maybe the word results or results and analysis will be a section in the paper. Also, if you look at the words findings or conclude, you will also find more information after them, like here, for example, in these two sentences, or two parts, you will find these, for example, the word findings and the word concludes. This is for results. Sometimes you need also more information, not only just a few sentences here and there, you need actually extra information. So do you really need to read every word of the paper? Sometimes you just look at the table. Here is the title of this paper, Constantly Doing the Right Projects and Doing Them Right. What metrics do you need? This is the title of the paper, and as you see, it concentrates on the metrics. And which metrics? You will see that we have this table about the 3 levels of a project success summarized. If you just look at the table, you will be helped about the main idea about the paper. For example, sometimes you look at the figures. Here is another paper, and this paper is about applying SMID or single minute exchange of dyes, about applying this principle in lean manufacturing. For the people who know lean manufacturing, this will be very easy. So if you look at the figure, SMID conceptual stages, we have 3 stages. If you just look at these stages, read these 4 steps, then you will immediately understand what is the main idea of that paper. Of course, in the same paper there were other figures and informations. So if you just look at these figures and tables, you will immediately realize the main idea of the paper without reading all the words on the paper. If you need more information about a certain paper, then you have to read, of course, the paper maybe word by word, but usually or generally speaking, you don't actually need to read every sentence or every word in the paper. You just need what you need. You read what you need. Thank you very much.